Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, July 27th of 2023. Trust that you guys are having a wonderful week so far. It's 9/11 right now. Hey, normally I make these a little bit earlier. Oh, it's 9/11/22. Look at that. Just automatically manifesting more things. Anyways, this is going to be your astrology forecast, like I said, for the 27th of July. And we got an interesting day ahead of us. We do have some challenging energies. We also have the moon, which will shift into Sagittarius come the end of the night. It's the last day of Mercury in Leo. We have a giant, like, freaking hodgepodge of energy in the edge of Leo at 28 degrees. We have Pluto that moves to 28 degrees today. We have the nodes, which are about to move to 28 degrees. We have a lot of edgy energy as far as planets and celestial bodies at the edge of their respective signs that they're in, that they currently occupy. So let's hop right into it. Well, we still, of course, have that sun in Leo, the moon of which will trine tomorrow. It is the strongest energy right now, being that it's in its home sign and its home decan, right? It is the strongest. Like, I want to show you guys just how strong this guy actually is. And I'm going to share my screen real fast with that particular thing. Bam. Bam. So if you look over here, and if you look at like the score over here, you can see that the sun is at +8. It is definitely the strongest energy right now, which means that the universe is pointing us to be more sun-like. The sun is asking us, the universe is asking us to be more sun-like, to be more Leo-like, to be more creative, to be more just expressing that, just that radiating shine, to be more bold, have the courage, the bravery to be yourself. That's what we're really being called to do, and to shine through, just to shine through unabashedly. So, anyways, let's get back to the rest of the, let's see, bam, bam, and then cool. So I want to make sure you guys actually see everything. But I just wanted to show you guys just how strong the sun is right now. And that's where we are pointing to, that to be more Leo-like, So if you are a Leo, then keep doing you. If you know any Leos, talk to your fellow Leos and just kind of get into their head a little bit and get into their heart a little bit. And that's what's like, all right, so how do I be more like a Leo? And a Leo will tell you. That's the thing too. It's like Leo wants everyone to sort of be more like a Leo. They do. And some people kind of will take that as, oh, they're arrogant, or oh, they're full of themselves. Leo is it's like that golden star child. That's the energy that it brings. It's like the Magi from my Magi, the Magical Labyrinth. It's an awesome anime that you guys should watch. It's the Magi. Like, of course, they would want everyone to shine more and stuff like that. And it's because they realize that there's so much to go around. We have this weird idea in our head that there's not enough to go around, that not everyone can live in their shine, their brightness, can live in that sort of Leo-like quality. When you look out there, there's billions upon billions of stars, and there's billions of people on this earth, too. But all of those stars shine, and they all have their thing, and they're all spread out, mind you. So maybe there's a sort of element where we wonder, like, well, can everyone really have it at the same time? I naively believe that we can. We're just not quite there yet. But anyways, that's my slight little Leo rant. I don't have a lot of Leo energy. I have Chiron and Leo, so I have to get this energy usually whenever the sun goes there, or a planet, or the moon, or just through the fellow Leos in my life, which I don't necessarily have like a whole bunch of Leos in my life. I have one person I'm thinking of in particular. He's definitely a Leo, which is funny too, because like sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but I could definitely tell them, no, you're definitely a Leo. But yeah, we're all asked to be more Leo-like at this moment, right? To almost be obnoxiously like radiant, to be obnoxiously ourselves, and almost be like not obnoxiously extra, but definitely just extra because like who you are and you stand on your principles and stuff, right? You stand on that. You stand on just shining brightly. But we are going to have this sort of traffic jam that happens in Leo today. With all these energies going to be at 28 degrees. So we're going to see Mercury and Venus change places. So bam, so it's interesting how by 11/11/22 they exactly conjunct at 28 degrees 11 minutes. How they exactly conjunct at that point. But then of course they switch, at this point. Come 12:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they are going to switch. But as you can see at that moment as well, Black Moon Lilith comes into the space. Now, the interesting thing to think about with Black Moon Lilith is that it's not an actual physical space; it's a calculation. So and it's interesting how it rules like these spheres and these sort of deeper toxicities in our life. These areas where it's like it is sort of like a miasma that is surrounding something, kind of, like very beautiful, but at the same time, it's alluring, but in a sort of like weird way. It's something that's like, are you sure you really want to go down that route? Because that might lead you to a place that's not really as shiny and as bright as you think it is. It can breed jealousy, it can breed contempt, it can breed all kinds of weird energies, right? But it doesn't exist. So that's why it's like a lot of times our fears that we have are unfounded and they don't actually exist. Once we have the courage to actually stand up to those fears, we realize that they are simply apparitions and ghouls and they're just not really there. It's like a smoke, and then you just walk. It's like maybe like the smoke like takes on the image of like a person, but then you walk through it and it dissipates. That's kind of what Black Moon Lilith is, right? So these energies are all going to meet up at 28 degrees. This happens while the moon is at 25 degrees, but it will join up with it as well. So later on in the day, in the afternoon or so, you're going to see the moon hit 28 degrees as well. Pluto's also here at 28 degrees, making a quincunx to all of this energy while the moon squares it. So, oh yeah, that's not really an easy energy to deal with. When we're being asked to really step into our heart, to really find our creativity again, and to find our inspiration, and to live from a place of inspiration, and to act from a place of inspiration. Because when you're inspired and you're motivated by something, when you're inspired by something, that's like spirit is within all of us. But that's when you really can feel spirit light up from within you. And that is a very powerful place to live from. If we can live from a place of inspiration, and if we can increase that feeling, if you can increase that sort of thing throughout our day, we would live very, very powerful lives. Now, inspiration typically comes in spurts. It comes in moments where it may come out of nowhere. It could be like the light bulb going off, right? It's something that doesn't necessarily happen all the time. And then you would wonder, you would ask, like, well, hey, Jay, if we were constantly living from a place of inspiration, inspired, and like being inspired, wouldn't that sort of take away from like the power of it? Wouldn't that sort of like, since if it happens consistently, wouldn't that kind of take away from it? The thing about inspiration that's so powerful is because it doesn't necessarily happen all the time. So when it does happen, it does make an impact. But what if, beloved, what if we could live from a place of inspiration much more frequently than we do? Why would that be a bad thing? Why would that be a bad thing? I'd argue to say that most people haven't lived from a place of inspiration, that they find inspiration in every single day, and that's consistent. They always find something else to be inspired by, something that lights up their soul, something that lights up their spirit. Why wouldn't we want to live from a place like that every day, every minute? That doesn't take away from the power. It doesn't take away from the value of it, just because we have it in our minds that like the more that we have of something, the less value it is. We have this weird thing. It's like the more that we have of something, if we have more and more and more and more and more of it, then it's not as valuable. But if we don't have as much of something, then it makes it rare. And it's like, oh, well, I have this. Like, you don't have this, and they don't have this, but I'm the only one that has this, right? But true abundance is really what we're going for here, where everyone can live from a place of inspiration. Everyone can be inspired. Everyone can have. Why would you not want that? Because when you have that and everyone's resonating in that state, that lifts the overall vibration of humanity. That's one of the biggest challenges right now, is this lack by design. We live in a society that has lack by design. We live in a society that has disparity by design. Now, we come to this world to be challenged, right? We come to this world to be challenged, right? But we can also lift the vibration of this plane of existence. The Pleiadians did it. A lot of these other, higher intelligent, higher spiritual races have done it, because they eventually got past this whole idea that if someone has something, then that means someone else has a lack, or not, they don't have it as well. That if someone has all this sort of stuff, that means that this person over here can't have anything. That is a brainwashing of this matrix, that some people will just have it and some people don't. So we come into this world and we are challenged by the fact that in our hearts, in our spirit, we know that the true thing that the universe really wants us to have is to live inspired every day and every moment, to just be inspired, and you can take action too. It's not something like you can be inspired, and of course you have to take the action afterwards, right? But to live from a place of inspiration, and to live from a place of abundance, and knowing that everyone around us is also like, how would that feel? Imagine for a moment with me, beloved. And I'll get back to the astrology, but I'm channeling right now. Imagine with me for a moment, right? The power that would come from this sort of situation. I've had this vision in my head, and I think it's because I've been in a place like this before. You've been to a concert, right? To a music event, right? The energy in that place is so much more different than when you're listening to that same song by yourself. Take a song that you listen to by yourself in the car, on the radio, or while you're taking a shower or whatever like that, or at home, whatever like that, and then take that same song and put it in a live performance that you attend. Not only are you getting the energy from the actual artist itself, but they're feeding off of the energy in the room, putting it back into the performance, and then dishing it back out. It is a feedback loop of energy, which amplifies the vibration, right? It hits differently. Imagine for a moment if you took a stadium of 50,000 people and you had a giant gemstone in the middle of the field, and everyone was either dancing or celebrating or praying or doing something positive to lift the vibration. You know how powerful that would be? You see how electric sports games could be. You have a stadium of 50 or 60,000 people. It's a football game or a soccer game or whatever like that. And something crazy happens and the whole crowd goes wild. You can feel that energy, especially if you've ever been to a game. Now imagine for a moment, and I love sports too. I'm not one of these people that's like thinking that all sports are low vibrational. No, that's not necessarily the case. Sports can be very inspirational. But imagine for a moment if instead of sports in those stadiums, we occasionally had people that came together and smiled, laughed, did positive things, danced. I guess you do that. You have that with concerts. But imagine if everyone was focused on inspiration in those moments and lifting the vibration. You know how powerful that would be? Sorry, something came up on my computer and I'm not really sure what's going on. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that, I was talking about trying to force quit applications or something like that. So I gotta, I guess, delete some memory on here. But I'm just saying, if we live from a place of inspiration, we would realize that we would want other people around us to be inspired, because then it creates this feedback loop and then everyone can lift up. Why would we not want that? Why would we not want the entire world to be abundant? Maybe I'm one of these naive people that thinks that we can actually achieve something like that. But I maintain that. Now, that's what I'm saying. This one's going to be a little bit tough because the moon is going to be in Scorpio. Now, the great thing about it, of course, is that it's not, it's, the South Node's not here anymore. So that's kind of the nice thing about it. But it is squaring all this energy. So we're trying to receive some sort of message when it comes to the Leo energy. You know, we have Black Moon Lilith here, so there's like there's this fear in between. Now the fear has come in between Venus and Mercury. It's come between our thoughts and stuff like that, and how we kind of make logic of things and how we try to sort things out. And Venus, which is all about, well, yeah, it's about relationships in many ways, and especially it's in a sign where that deals with the relationships, it deals with the the inspiration in relationships, if you will, right? That deals with sort of like those nice, light, fluffy kind of feelings. You know what I mean? Whereas Libra, of course, is like, you actually do the thing. You actually take the action and actually make the relationship something. And Scorpio is about the commitment, right? And if you want to take it further, Sagittarius will be about, the vision that you guys have. And the reason why I say that is because you got Gemini over here, which is sort of like the beginning aspect of it, where you actually meet the individual, right? It's that initial interaction. So yeah, Gemini, with that initial interaction, you're communicating. Cancer, you start to develop feels. You start to maybe even imagine what it'll be like to be with this person. Leo's when things are kind of like it's nice, it's fluffy. Those are the dates. It feels good. Virgo is like, it's interesting. There's not really a lot of relationship stuff with Virgo, especially since that Venus doesn't like to be there. Much rather be in Pisces. But this is when you start to kind of understand the intricacies of that person, right? Libra is when it's like you kind of make that commitment. You make that initial action, that commitment. You're like, all right, let's be a thing. And Scorpio is about the deeper commitment. And now it continues. Sagittarius is about the vision that you guys build together. If you build it together, if it gets to that point and stuff like that too. A lot of times relationships will falter around this area. It's usually Virgo and Libra, and sometimes they get here too. But these are the three ones that like are a little bit difficult, right? Because sometimes people will jump to Sag, they'll kind of jump to here, which is pretty natural, especially if you start in Gemini. You may jump to Sag as far as that goes. But there's going to be this whole element now where the moon's squaring this energy, where we are definitely trying to figure some things out. We have some weird fears that are kind of getting in the way of things. Venus is moving backward away from Mars, right? So she's like, her hot girl summer has definitely come to an end. You know what I mean? So, and she's not necessarily feeling at her peak or at her best, So, and it's dealing with this king comes from Pluto, which is trying to say, it's like, yo, so there's certain societal standards too that we have. And we have to ask ourselves, well, are these societal standards, do they really match what is like these societal standards? Like, am I inspired by these societal standards? Am I inspired to really live my true self and live my best life by these things? Are there any fears that I have surrounding these societal standards, which are being transformed as we speak? And we can feel that, right? We're definitely trying to come to some sort of epiphany with all this energy, right? Now, of course, what's interesting is that all this energy is still training the North Node, right? And it's exiling the South Node. So you see how we have all this edgy energy, 28 degrees with all these 28 here, 29, 27, So now it's like you have like this yod still that's going on between Neptune, Pluto, and all this energy. Whereas it was just Venus, now Black Moon Lilith is here. Now Mercury is here. Now, granted, this is the last full day of Mercury in Leo. So we're about to get some newer energy. Mercury's about to come home into Virgo. The moon's about to go into Sag. It's going to bring a little bit more positivity, a little bit more uplifting energy. In fact, that's going to happen by 9/11, 22 p.m., right? We're going to have that moon come into Sagittarius, which is going to bring a little bit more positivity, and it'll get ready to trine the sun in the next day, right? So there's definitely going to be this element today where we're going to feel a lot of shifting energy. Saturn comes to 5 degrees. There's a lot of building energy right now where we are really trying to look for the positives in situations that definitely can be very challenging, that definitely are calling us to really step more into our heart. But it can be hard to step into our heart because maybe we have been told by society that we have to be a certain way, look a certain way. We have been told that we have to do things all a certain way. And the other part too is that there has to be some nuance here. You can't just rebel for the sake of rebelling too, because we don't have any Aquarius energy. So it's like there's certain societal standards, right, that aren't just founded on some sort of discrimination or just founded on trying to put someone out. No, there's certain societal standards that just have happened naturally and organically. And I think we have to be okay with that. That, just because you may have certain standards, whatever like that, you know what I mean? Doesn't necessarily mean that we need to project that onto everyone else. And this goes both ways. If you have certain standards as far as beauty goes and you don't date anyone less than like a 9, whatever like that, that's one thing. And if you have someone that says that everyone is beautiful, regardless of whether they're a 1 or a 10, and I'm just being like really just raw right now, that everyone's beautiful, it's what's on the inside that counts. Both of those things can be true at the same time. And neither one of them can really project or shouldn't have to project that reality onto the other one and expect, like, the person that doesn't date anyone less than a 9 has to have some nuance when it comes to the person that thinks that beauty on the inside is what counts. And beauty is on the inside. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. But there are 1s, there are 2s, there are 3s, there are 4s, there are 5s out here. There just are, okay? Like, it just is what it is. And the person that's like, oh, you shouldn't date someone just because of their physical beauty. You should date them because what's on the inside and stuff. They have to have some nuance as well. You have to have some. You can't get mad at people for having standards too. I think that's what's going on. Is that it's happening with both sides, where it's like one side is like, oh no, you should accept me even though of this, and this. It's like, well, you can take the things that work for you and leave the things that don't, and people can still coexist. This is a very, like, some people may really get upset about this too. Some people may get upset about this. It's like, especially when it comes to romance and dating and stuff, because that's where I'm really feeling a lot of this energy is coming from, is romance and dating and stuff like that. I'm sorry. Like, it's like there are certain people it's like you just simply aren't attracted to. And you shouldn't be told. It's like you should be attracted to them anyways because of this, and this. I'm like, well, no, I don't have to be. It just is what it is. And that's okay. We have to have some level of nuance. You can date that person. You can go for that individual, but don't expect me to. I'm not going to be mean to them, but they're just not my cup of tea. And I think that's what a lot of that's something that's coming up a lot right now is people saying, like, if you don't date this kind of person or if you don't date that kind of person, then you're this, then you're that, then you're this thing. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm like, everyone has their own standards. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone has a different Venus sign or a different degree or aspecting something. Some people have, yeah, Venus and Leo's especially one of the ones where it's like, yeah, if it's not like a 10, I'm not going for it. And that may seem shallow to a lot of people, but that's what Venus and Leo authentically is. And we have to have a nuanced perspective on it, right? Now, the flip side to that is that sometimes Venus and Leo will go for something that's super shiny, but then it does turn out to be like they have a shitty personality or they're like overly vain, you know what I mean? And not caring about developing any other aspect of themselves. But that's what Venus and Leo goes for. It's attracted to royal energy. That's what it is, right? That's what Venus is right now. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about it, Some people have Venus in Aquarius. Maybe they're attracted to something that's a lot more quirky, a little bit out of the box, a little bit out there. Some people are attracted more to Venus in Scorpio energy, where it's a little bit more dark, mysterious. Or Venus in Cap energy, where to some people it may seem like too, like almost like, I'm gonna say uptight. I was gonna say uptight, but yeah, maybe it's just different for everyone. So we can't just try and put it in one little box. That's the thing about it. That's the thing about it. But we're going to experience some challenges because we're trying to feel this out. The emotions will be a little bit deep, especially like I said, with it squaring all of this energy in Leo at the edge of Leo, at the degree that Mercury retrograded at 28 degrees. Pluto has now moved to the 28 degree quincunxing it. So there's definitely this awkward stare from across the room, right? And even though this has a lot to do with like society, the way that things have built up to this point, or organization of things, politics, even standardizations and stuff, a lot of it still is transforming forever, and I think it's like we have to, kind of come to terms with that. It's like, okay, how do we deal with the world that is changing forever? Can we maintain some level of sovereignty in this, but also address the fact that we're all in this together? Can we maintain some sovereignty in thought? Can we maintain some sovereignty in it was like, okay, well, can we look at a situation and have our own original ideas about it? Can we maintain some sovereignty as far as that goes, and then act from that place instead of just accepting what is given to us and just accepting what is being told to us, just accepting the narrative? That's the challenge of all this right now. That's going to be the challenge of all this. And of course, with all this energy trining the North Node, it's a positive thing. But are you going to get super caught up on your wounds and let them fester, like I was talking about yesterday? Oh yeah, look at this gaping wound right here. It's open, it's festering, and someone like, ugh. And then you may get upset. That may trigger you because someone is like looking at your wound and they're like, oh, there's maggots in there. What are you doing? You gotta clean that thing. What are you talking about? No, this is how I get by in life. This is like my money, I scan this arm that's open with wounds and has maggots crawling out of it. That's how I pay for things. And don't be surprised when you start to scare people away when you live your life like that. You know what I mean? We all have our wounds. We all are the shoulder that someone leans on, and we all lean on someone's shoulder. But I think when you just constantly sit in that space where that's what you identify with, that's what you become, that's your whole life is centered around that thing, then yeah, it's yeah, no one's going to, you may, at least right now, you may get some currency, you may get some attention and some likes, but it's going to fade eventually. The boy who cried wolf. Are you going to just keep crying wolf? Even when something really shitty actually does happen to you, and then no one's really there? You don't want to put yourself in a place like that. You don't want to put yourself in a place like that. You can use what happened to you to empower you to move forward and use that as a means of inspiration and inspire other people too. But just sitting there and constantly complaining, no one's going to want to be around someone who's just constantly complaining. And we all have periods of that. I'm kind of going through a period of that myself with my job. And I'm just being honest too. But you got to also realize that, especially if you're watching this video, you got it better than like 99% of a good percentage of the people in this world. It could always be worse. So there's always something to be grateful for. And if you can find something to be grateful for, I think that's really the first step. Find something to be grateful for. And when you continually list those things out, it makes you feel better. It lifts up your vibration. It makes you realize that it's not as bad as it seems. And then when you get to that place, you can start to actually take more inspired action. And when you take more inspired action, you're going to want to take even more inspired action. And then you can live from a place of inspiration, which is a very, very powerful way to live. And I would argue to say the most powerful way to live. And is what we are ultimately striving for as humanity. At least that's what I'm striving for. Anyways, let's get to the cards today. All right, let's see what we got. You're coming out. All right. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll see what the bottom of the deck was. So the first card I have, we have the 5 of Swords that's come up again. It's reversed this time. And then we also have the King of Swords. You see the story that's been playing out over like from yesterday to today. And then we also have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. This is interesting. So, all right. So here's literally what's played out, because it's interesting too, because it does look like the character in this card, the guy that's walked away, the guy that lost, it looks like he actually won the battle. He came back and won. He went back and trained and he won, and now he became the King of Swords. You see how that worked out? But here's the thing. Even when you feel like life has defeated you, even when you feel like something might have taken something away from you, you can train and come back and become stronger. And then you can be the king or queen. But you can ascend to the throne and be super powerful. Because you didn't just listen to the information and what the language that you... Hold on, let me back up. I had like 5 thoughts that came in at once. I notice that happens sometimes. Whatever is being communicated to you by the universe, you didn't necessarily take it at face value. Like, I lost this battle. I'm a loser. But you took that and it was like, I lost. Well, I'm a loser. Well, I don't like this feeling. Yeah, this feeling kind of sucks. Should I do something about this feeling? And then bam. Do you double down on the feeling, or do you train to become stronger? Do you train to become stronger? How do you think, like, if Rock Lee from Naruto simply just gave up just because he could only use taijutsu? No, you know what he did? He doubled down and became obnoxiously obsessed with his craft. And to go toe to toe with Rock Lee is, yeah, you're you're not going to want to necessarily do that. You're asking for a world of hurt, right? That's the thing about it. He, instead of focusing on the fact that he can only use taijutsu and he was different from everyone else, and he was in many ways an outcast in the show, he doubled down and became one of the strongest ninja in the Leaf Village. Rock Lee, bushy brow, right? Everyone likes it. You know, it's funny. I think Naruto is technically a Libra. Rock Lee, I don't know when his birthday is, but he definitely gives me Leo vibes. Definitely gives me Leo vibes. 100%. Because he's so about it. He's about the power of youth, which Leo is about the youth, right? So this is the thing. It's like, you may lose the battle, but you haven't lost the war. You can come back stronger. Now, here's the thing that we have to remember when we come back. It's like, the work doesn't stop. So I think that's the thing. It's like, we have to remember that, you know, with this 8 of Pentacles in reverse, it's like, maybe we do have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Maybe we have to recalibrate the way that we do things. And I think that's really what what's going on, is that the King of Swords, this individual right here, this is really what happened. He lost the battle. He went back and worked on it. He had to go back to the drawing board, and then he won and became the king and ascended to the throne. That's what happened here. And similarly, you can do the same thing. Now, you have the 7 of Cups. Yeah, it's an indecisiveness here. The inability to make a decision, to actually recalibrate and maybe do something a little bit different. But if you do something different, if you accept, it's like, you know what? Okay, I lost that battle. Cool. I live to fight another day. right? I live to fight another day. I could walk away from this with my head held high, and I can go back to the gym, go back to the gym, go back into the lab, and I can live more powerfully, and I can come back and I can win, and I can ascend to the throne. That's what this is about. So I think a lot of people right now are feeling defeated in certain areas of their life, and they're wondering how they can move forward. But the thing is that we have to have the humility to go back to the drawing board and recalibrate if we need to, and then know that if we recalibrate and we continue to work on our craft and continue to practice and continue to grow and continue to build, that we can come back and we can win, and we can really, and then this is the swords, right? So he's all about his communication. He's a powerful orator. He's able to inspire his people. You can ascend, and then you can be an inspiration to other people on how you overcame the obstacles, you overcame defeat and loss, and had the humility to transform the way that you do things so you can come back and be stronger, more powerful, and actually win, and then inspire other people. We have the horse. Speak your passion aloud and defend those whom you love in word and deed. That's amazing. I love that. We should absolutely. The King of Swords definitely does that. He speaks his passion. He speaks that truth aloud. And he also defends those who are closest to him. He defends them in love and in deed. So it's not just this, fluffy, kind of spiritual, sort of like floaty, sort of like this whole thing of love. It's deed. It's an action as well that he integrates this into. So that's what it comes down to. So, be bold, speak your passion, and also, of course, defend those who are close to you, your loved ones, through the love, but also through your actions. Maybe you've lost a battle. Maybe you lost a couple battles. Maybe you're on a losing streak. Some of you guys may be on a losing streak. But that doesn't mean that you have to lose forever. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that there's actual value in losing forever. That there's something there. No, that there's something that to be gained from just losing and 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 losing forever. No, get some wins. Get some wins under your belts. You'll feel a lot better. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I know I rambled a good bit in this one. This one was definitely more of a channel, so definitely kind of went in on this one, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. And if you would like a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next astrology forecast for Friday. Y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all later. Peace.